Stop for a moment and look at the image you project to the world. We are raised on the myth of the perfect glass, a life without flaws, a career without stumbles, a relationship without argument, a face without wrinkles. We desperately strive to be that flawless, pristine pane of glass, reflecting only success and ease. This obsession with perfection creates an intense, debilitating fear, the fear of breaking, the fear of that one seismic event, the catastrophic failure, the public humiliation, the personal rock bottom that shatters the glass into 1,000 irreparable pieces. And here is the insidious truth we ignore. This constant need to hide the fragments is the engine of modern burnout and mental exhaustion. We spend more energy covering up our cracks than we do building our future. When the break finally comes, and it always does, we grab the fragments and try to glue them back together in secret, hoping no one notices the hairline fractures. We dedicate years to hiding the evidence, pouring energy into proving we are fixed, that we are whole again. But the truth is, a secretly glued life is fragile. It's always one small tremor away from collapsing once more. Today, we are going to tell a different story. A story about a 500-year-old philosophy that teaches us the only way to truly heal is not to hide the break, but to highlight it. To prove that your biggest failure isn't the end of your story, it is the moment your value truly begins.
This philosophy is called Kintsugi. It is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery. But they do not use invisible glue to hide the damage. Instead, the craftsman uses a special lacquer dusted with powdered gold, silver, or platinum to reconnect the fragments. The result is breathtaking. The pottery piece is not just repaired, it is transformed. The previously worthless cracks are now rivers of gold, accentuating the damage. The repair becomes the focal point of the vessel's beauty. The break is no longer a moment of shame, but a unique golden scar, celebrating its history and resilience. In Kintsugi, the object is literally made stronger and more beautiful because of its fracture. This stands in stark contrast to the Western cultural idea of failure. We are taught to discard the broken, to replace the damaged, to pretend the crack never existed. We apply this principle to our own lives. We file away the memory of the bankruptcy. We gloss over the divorce. We omit the career setback from our resume. We seek invisible repair. But Kintsugi offers a radical, life-altering perspective. Your cracks are proof you broke. Your gold is proof you chose to put yourself back together. And the joining of the two makes you exponentially more valuable than the original unbroken object. The scar is the wisdom. The scar is the gold.
Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was the perfect glass. By 35, she was a high-flying vice president in a major financial firm in Manhattan. Her life was an impeccable reflection of success. Corner office, perfectly tailored wardrobe, an enviable social life. She lived entirely through the reflection of others' praise. She wasn't driven by passion for the work, but by a consuming desire to never break, to always maintain the pristine, flawless image of a winner. Then came the shattering. It was a major merger. Sarah, overworked and stressed, made a critical oversight in the due diligence process, a mistake that cost the company tens of millions of dollars. It wasn't malicious, but it was fatal. She wasn't just fired, she was publicly blamed. Her perfect glass shattered instantly, not into tiny, neat pieces, but into sharp, jagged fragments of shame. The immediate aftermath was devastating. She became a ghost. She disconnected from friends, avoided networking events, and spent months trying to find a high-level job to prove the break hadn't happened. She was attempting invisible repair. She downplayed her time at the old firm, tried to use subtle glue to hide the crack, and her interviews felt hollow, forced, and ultimately unsuccessful. The failure was a silent scream behind her eyes. She was obsessed with the idea of becoming the original Sarah again. One day, while volunteering at a local community center, a small, low-stakes task she took on just to fill the time, she was asked to organize their chaotic grant application archives. This was a tedious, non-glamorous, non-VP task. But as she worked, a natural, almost obsessive dedication took over. She didn't just file, she engineered a system of cross-referencing, digital archiving and tracking that was flawless in its logic. She wasn't trying to impress anyone, she was simply applying her innate high-level organizational precision, a skill that was instrumental in her old job, but had been masked by the flashing lights of her VP title. The community center director noticed, "Sarah, this isn't just organizing, this is genius. You just saved us 40 hours a month. You took chaos and you made it simple." It was a small crack, but for the first time, Sarah wasn't trying to hide it. She was seeing the gold hidden inside the mundane skill. She realized her real value wasn't in the title or the company, but in the underlying ability to bring sophisticated order to complex problems. Instead of hunting for a new VP job, she launched her own tiny consulting firm, specializing not in finance, but in systemizing chaos for nonprofits and small businesses. She marketed herself openly. "I've seen the highest level of corporate dysfunction. I know what works and I know what breaks. My experience in failure is your assurance of my system's strength." She used her professional shattering not as a secret shame, but as the foundation of her expertise. The failure became her gold repair.
Sarah's story brings us to the core of the Kintsugi life. Failure is merely information. It's the highest quality, most expensive form of education you can buy. A. The crucial distinction, regret versus learning. Regret is looking backward. It's allowing the memory of the failure to shrink your present and future. Regret keeps the pieces scattered on the floor, sharp and dangerous. It whispers, "You are broken. You are less." Learning is looking inward and forward. It means picking up each shattered piece and asking, "What shape is this?
What does this fragment tell me about my weaknesses, my true strengths, and my boundaries? Learning is the act of mixing the lacquer with the gold. You must stop beating yourself up for the break and start respecting the process of repair. Every great success story is merely a series of perfectly executed Kintsugi repairs. B. The golden currency of authenticity. Why does Kintsugi work on a human level? Because it creates authentic authority. When you meet a person who pretends to be a perfect glass, they are intimidating and unrelatable. They connect with our ambition, but not with our humanity. When you meet a person who openly shares their golden repairs, the lessons, the scars, the hard-won wisdom, they connect with our soul. Their authority comes not from a perfect resume, but from proven resilience. They have earned their gold. And in a world saturated with fake perfection, authentic resilience is the most valuable currency. Beyond perfection, the strength of the join. A Kintsugi vessel is theoretically stronger at the joints than the original piece. Why? Because the golden lacquer is a binding agent that accepts the original structure but forces a new, tighter connection. The same is true for your life. The person you become after you repair a major failure is fundamentally stronger and more grounded than the person you were before the break. You gain clarity. You know what truly matters. Empathy. You understand what others are going through. Depth. Your perspective gains dimension. Your failure didn't weaken you. It located the precise spots where you needed to be reinforced with gold. The Kintsugi life asks you to change your perspective on your own history. Stop trying to look fixed and start celebrating that you are remade. Look at the areas in your life where you feel the most ashamed, the most cracked. That major career setback, that failed business, that painful relationship ending, that time you let yourself down. That is your clay. That is the space demanding your gold. Stop measuring your worth by the impossible standard of the unbroken past. Start embracing the profound beauty of your reconstructed self. Your golden scars are your unique design, the map of your evolution, and the truest testimony to your unyielding strength. The most beautiful life is not the one without cracks, but the one whose cracks shine the brightest. If this philosophy resonates with you, use the comment section below not for a compliment, but to share one small golden repair you've made in your own life. What wisdom did your biggest failure give you? Like and subscribe if you are ready to stop hiding your scars and start making them shine. Thank you for watching. And remember, be gold.